Welcome everybody, I'm Victor Sunui, and today I will be talking about how to use a PHP for loop. A brief description or definition of what a for loop is basically a sequence, a statement that has to be constantly iterated until it reaches an anchor point or a condition that is stated in this for loop to make it stop. Here is a brief explanation of how to set up a for loop. You have to, of course, use the instantiation for, and then you need to initialize some variables. For instance, the counter, which is basically how the value in which the loop is going to start with, and then the test counter, which is what tells you how far it's going to go this loop, and it's going to be checking for every iteration to make sure that the value is within that scope, that frame. And then you have the increment counter, which is basically the value that iterates, that increments that initial value in 1 unit increment until the loop is over. And it may be a little complicated to explain, but here is a little example. First of all, we need to see how it's declared, how you can actually type or write a for loop. And you can see we need to initialize it with this PHP label, and it has to be enclosed with this question mark. And then we're going to include this for loop inside of it. Otherwise, it's not going to work in PHP. And as we can see here, this is the initial counter, and in this example, the variable, we call it x, and it's set up to a value of 0. And this is how the for loop is going to start. And then the next step is the test counter. Here in this example, that we're going to count to 10, it's making the condition that if this variable is less or equal than 10, then include it. It's true, it's a true statement, so it's gonna pass the loop. Okay, and then because the statement is true, then you're gonna print right here the first value of this sequence, which is 0, because we started at 0. Okay, and then after this happens, we have the increment counter, which is going to set our initial value, which was 0, to 1, and then we're going to iterate through this loop again. And now this x, you have to imagine that it's a 1, and we're going to do this check again, and it's going to check, is 1 less or equal than 10? And if it's true, which it is, then it's going to print this right here. So this number is 1, and we're going to increment a unit again, and we're going to start again. Now this x becomes 2, and then we'll make this check again. Is 2 less or equal than 10? Yes, true. So then print it and make an increment, and we're going to do this sequence until we reach to x equal 11, because then we're going to make this statement, and we're going to say, is 11 less or equal than 10? And that's false. So we're going to exit the loop, and we're going to be done with it. So some major key points to remember that for loops, you usually use them when you need to iterate something a specific number of times with a counter, and you always need an initial counter variable so that you can start the loop from a point. It can be 0, it can be 2, whatever you want to be, but you always need that initial counter. And then you need the statement, the validation, I would say, which is the test counter. So it's just, that's gonna tell you how far you want that loop to go. And then of course your increment counter, so that it can iterate and increment in units. And that's a brief explanation of what a PHP for loop is, and I hope it was easy and clear to follow and understand. Thank you.